Definitely. And then neglect dyslexia can also occur at the sentence level too.
Yes. So you might find if you give the child a sentence to read, they might neglect the first word in the sentence. And if the first word is an unimportant word like the, then you might think, well, they've still got the meaning. They've just left out an unimportant word. So you need sentences where the first word is something really important, like trees are used for shelter by birds. If you don't get the word trees, you have no idea what that sentence is about. And so the way to look at this is to give children sentences like that. You don't need to give them very many, and see whether they miss a word. And if it's a word, do they always miss the first word? And then if they do, you've pinned down exactly what's wrong with this particular child, and that's going to direct you towards appropriate interventions.
Right. Now, the next one would be the visual dyslexia or the orthographic input buffer dyslexia, but we'll just call it visual dyslexia to try and remove some of that jargon.
Yes.
And it's only used when we cannot account for it by specific deficit and looking at the letter position, the attentional issue, the letter identification, or the neglect dyslexia.
I'm thinking that visual dyslexia is not a useful category because it's too broad. You might think letter position dyslexia is visual, or letter identification. They're all kinds of visual. So that's a category that I'd prefer to skip because I think it's captured by the other kinds.
Yeah.
And so that's one we don't need to think about.
Yeah, when you mentioned that there are questions whether it's also the graphemic buffer dyslexia, if they're the same thing. And I think it's in too much of a gray area to really help inform
Yes.
intervention.
That's right. I agree.